Dear Christopher, here is your friend Thomas the Tank Engine. He wanted to come out of his station yard and see the world. These stories tell you how he did it. I hope you will like them because you helped me to make them. Your loving Daddy.
When I was a kid, my childhood consisted of Disney and Pixar movies, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, Tom and Jerry, and SpongeBob SquarePants. But the one thing I loved the most as a kid was Thomas the Tank Engine. Hello! On this day, 80 years ago, the world was introduced to a little book series called The Railway Series, written by a railway enthusiast named Reverend Wilbert Awdry. The series was originally simple stories he wrote for his son Christopher Awdry in 1943 when he was sick with measles. The first 3 stories were about 3 engines, Edward, Gordon, and Henry, and their adventures on the railway. While he was publishing the first book, Awdry gave Christopher a little wooden engine made from a broomstick. Christopher then asked his father if he can give the engine his own book in the stories. Christopher agreed, but he needed to give the engine a name first. Christopher Awdry said, "Why not call him Thomas?" In 1946, the next year, the world will be introduced to a children's icon. And the rest, they say, is history. To celebrate Thomas's 80th anniversary, I thought, why not just share my history with the franchise? I was debating on doing something like this for a while, then seeing other fans talk about their history with the franchise, I just thought, you know what? I'll do it. Also, I'll be talking about how I joined the fandom as well after. And by the way, sorry if I haven't been putting out content a lot this year. I'm just a little busy helping some of my other friends with other projects and other personal stuff. I do have another special video coming in July, but if you see my teaser for the summer video, then you might know what it will be. But enough of that, let's begin. Like some, I don't know the very first contact I had with Thomas, but I do remember watching 2 DVDs I had when I was very young. One had songs, and the other had the pack episodes, and I was instantly hooked. Just seeing these friendly-looking faces on these colorful and interesting machines just fascinated me. The way the steam engines looked, sounded, and the steam puff out of their funnels, it's all the main reasons why I love steam engines in general. Hearing the gentle voice of George Carlin made me feel like I was being told a story by a father or grandfather.
Old engines can't pull trains like the young ones can. They can if they're mended, Old Faithful, smiled his driver. And that's what's going to happen to you. You deserve it.
And hearing Alec Baldwin's narration made me feel like I was watching a cinematic movie, along with his hilarious voice lines.
We should have left this part of the island alone.
Oh my goodness! Help! Save me! What was that? Exclaimed James.
Or Michael Brandon's, narration of all time.
Gordon's a mess, he's the largest and jelliest. It's me!
I was born in 2006, and that was during the middle of the hit era. When I was a kid, I did enjoy the hit era episodes, but I just felt more gravitated towards the classic series episodes more. The engines talked to each other more maturely, the stories were not boring, and the model work was much more appealing to look at. My favorite episodes to watch were mostly seasons 1 to 6. As a kid, I didn't really care much for the season 7 episodes, but strangely, despite season 5 being my favorite season, I didn't really remember watching it a whole lot as a kid.
You what?
I watched some episodes, but they mostly came from the Cranky Bugs DVD. I didn't watch the full season in its entirety until I discovered YouTube a few years later. I can easily remember playing either on the carpet with my wooden railway trains, or a little table playing with my take-alongs listening to the show. I also watched Thomas and the Magic Railroad a few times in my early childhood. Despite my name being the Magic Railroad Studios, I was actually afraid to watch the actual film as a kid. Because, well, I think we all know why.
Get out of my way! I have unfinished business!
Yeah. However, when I actually saw this video of the chase from long ago, I was again hesitant to watch it. But after listening to the audio and then watching Diesel 10 in action, I grew more interested in it. I even remade the chase scene too. Then watching more of Magic Railroad, I eventually discovered the production behind it and how it became a flop and kinda changed Thomas's image. And then it eventually led to me discovering the Railway series itself. I was absolutely blown away by it. Thomas had an entire book series all this time. Edward was the first character to be created. The engines are based on real-life engines. It was a lot to process, but I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I discovered this when I first discovered the YouTube and fandom side of Thomas, but I'll talk about that in a few moments. So after discovering the books, my love for Thomas and Friends grew. I began collecting merchandise, trying to do some actual customs, and followed a lot more on the show, especially when the 70th anniversary hit in 2015. The adventure begins, a literal retelling of Thomas's origins. James was originally painted black and even reorchestrated themes and songs. It was just, oh, so good. We had it so good 10 years ago. But then we come to late 2017. I still was keeping up with Thomas and Friends, but I was skeptical with the new changes coming. Thomas would be traveling around the world. Edward and Henry, two classic main characters, are going to be replaced. Thomas Winterelli now being unpainted. What is even happening anymore? 2018 was a good year for me personally, but for Thomas and Friends, it wasn't good. I should have stopped there, but almost every single time I kept coming back to it. The next 2 seasons in this new direction of the show weren't any better, and they also produced probably the worst Thomas media ever. Marvelous Machinery, aka My Purgatory. At the end of 2020, Mattel did announce that they would be rebooting Thomas and Friends into a 2D animated show meant for an even younger audience, to the point where no one over the age of, 6 could enjoy it. I was kind of upset when this was announced. This wasn't the same series that me and other fans grew up with at all. But most other fans, got over it and accepted that this is just Thomas's image now. At least currently. And that pretty much wraps up my history with Thomas and Friends, at least show-wise. But I will always keep coming back to it, whether it be the classic series, the Brenner series, or the Railway series. But we're not done yet. I want to talk about how I discovered the fandom and then joined it years later. Around the early 2010s, I discovered YouTube, a place where you can make any type of content you want, and of course, Thomas and Friends fans joined in. I remember one night my sister gave me her phone to watch some YouTube, and I just typed in Thomas. And I remember these 3 videos I watched. Transformers 1, Thomas and Friends Sprite Tests, and a Trains Accidents Happen remake. I was very impressed by these videos, and the fact that these were either teens and adults making content about a children's series was shocking, and their creations as years went on just kept getting better and better. If I had to pick my favorite projects with Thomas, they would be Project Tiger Moth for being almost 1-to-1 with Season 5, the Magic Railroad parody for just outright being hilarious and feels more cinematic than the actual Magic Railroad, Mad Bomber for being one of the first projects I've seen and being impressed with the sets and explosives, and Tobias and the Arcane Merchant for being a worthy sequel to its predecessor and using Train Simulator and amazing editing to its potential. 2020 was definitely a bad year for all, and definitely had a toll on people's mental health. Me and my parents had to move to a more populated state due to the current world events at the time. Though one of my friends I made in school suggested to download an app called TikTok. At first, I wasn't really motivated to get it, but eventually I caved in and downloaded it. And my first few videos were about cars, but wasn't really going anywhere with that. Then I stumbled upon some Thomas users on TikTok that had a community of their own on there, and I thought, wait, this could be my chance to finally join the Thomas fandom. And you know what? I'm glad I did. I came up with my username, the Magic Railroad Studios, sometime later, and started creating Thomas videos on there for almost 3 years. Along the way, I made friends, and I'm still friends with them to this day, which I get into stupid shenanigans with. Okay, Timothy, so do I get my paycheck for being in here?
No.
You son of a... I'm still waiting for that paycheck, little bro.
Shut the f*** up. Next up, we have Magic Man.
Around late 2020 or early 2021, I wanted to create a YouTube channel. I wasn't really interested in creating one at first, but my other friends started creating their own, so I caved in and made one. At first, I posted some Fallout edits, clip remakes, or just uploads of my TikToks. And now, here we are in 2025, and I've definitely branched out to other forms of videos, such as reviews, analyst videos, thoughts-ons, ranks, collabs, and even music videos. I still have a blast making videos for you guys, and I plan to continue for as long as I can. And it's all thanks to this man right here and his little blue engine. Thomas and Friends has changed my life. It found me some creativity, friends, a YouTube channel, an appreciation for stories. The Railway series with its lore and world building, the Model series with sets that look like something from a child's imagination, and even the CGI series with its gorgeous animation and its attempt to replicate what Thomas really was back then. Despite the franchise currently being at its lowest yet, I will always keep coming back to what made Thomas good in the first place. Wilbur Audrey and especially Britt Allcroft have created my childhood as well as many others. They have created so many fond memories for children and families across the globe. This franchise wasn't made as a brand or to sell toys or to please executives. Thomas was really made all because Audrey just wanted to see his sick child smile again. And I'm sure we all want to do that when we have kids of our own someday. When I have children of my own in the future, I will definitely be introducing them to Thomas the Tank Engine. And they could show him to their kids in the future too. I want to thank Reverend Wilbur Audrey for creating an iconic character that will be remembered for many generations to come. Britt Allcroft for creating so many childhoods, and the fans for keeping the spirit of Thomas alive.